On June 19, 2024, Louisiana signed a controversial bill regarding having displayed the Ten Commandments in every public school, which definitely brought up the question about the separation of church and state. We are all aware there's a big percentage of the U.S. that are Christian, and there's also a big percentage that are not religious. And they're asking the question, hey, isn't this against the separation of church and state? And one argument is, hey, having the Ten Commandments displayed, you're not teaching it, yet it is a public school. And the pushback that I have in this argument is why the left has a different bar when it comes to having the pride flag in a school, which represents something that for a section of the country they disagree, where a public school should be a neutral zone, not your religion, not your ideology. We should keep it as neutral as possible where you are teaching kids. And that's definitely an interesting topic that we'll see how it develops. Regarding this case, there is actually a precedent to this. There is a Supreme Court case from the 1980s, November 17, 1980, where the Kentucky passed a law requiring the display of the Ten Commandments. And the question from that case was, did Kentucky statute violate the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment? And on a really close decision at 5-4, the court ruled that the Kentucky rule did violate the First Amendment, and a test that they called the Lemon versus Kurzman. And based on their analysis, that's what they determined. So my question is, if the Kentucky law violated the First Amendment, because according to the Supreme Court, the reason was just a religious purpose, there was nothing else behind it, in a public school. That's the issue. One thing is, if you have your private school and you want to teach whatever you want to teach, you're more than welcome to. The difference is when you want to bring it to a neutral place, which is a public schools, where you might have different religions. Because there's a question that Muslims can say, hey, why don't we have something relating to the Quran? And the way that I see this is, schools should be a neutral zone. The same way I don't support having a pride flag. The same way I don't support having the Ten Commandments. If you want to have it on your private school, you want to have your pride flag, and the people that are paying for your school support that, hey, that's fine. But not in the public schools, because we cannot reject paying taxes. We're still paying the taxes for those schools, whether we like it or not. Therefore, I think Louisiana has all the things to worry about, especially the education, all the systems, the crime that they have over there. They should focus on those things instead of political point for their base. That's the only thing I see. Like maybe just taking a hard stance, similar when what other states do to abortion when they pass something crazy, and you're like, hey, abortion was already legal. What's the point? And I will wrap it up with this. That's all I had to say. I think with the precedence of the Supreme Court, if this goes to a district court, they might get struck down. Not sure how it might change. I mean, there's a lot of things have changed since the 1980s, but when it says the Supreme Court precedents, normally those things get struck down unless he actually makes it back to the Supreme Court. So we'll see what happens with that. With that information, I'll wrap up this video and hope you guys like it. Have a good one. Bye-bye.